she's about to give birth?
Well, the first thing that she does normally is to get very restless. She'll start moving around and panting a lot, and she doesn't know whether to sit down or stand up. One of the things that's very characteristic is that they start tearing up the bedding, particularly if it's newspaper or even blankets. They start trying to tear at the bedding, and people get a little bit alarmed about that sometimes. There's really nothing to worry about. That's quite normal to do that. And that can go on for quite a long time. That can go on for perhaps half a day when she's fidgeting about, trying to settle down, not being able to settle down. They then move into the second phase of really having the puppies, the actual process of having the puppies. It's very important to make a note of the time at that stage. She mustn't go for more than 2 hours at the most without actually producing anything.
If she does go for more than 2 hours, should you ring your vet?
Oh, you should ring your vet really before that. You've got to make allowances for the time of him turning out and getting to your place. So you should really start thinking about getting him to you if she hasn't produced anything, say after an hour, so that he can be there well within 2 hours.
Presumably he should be forewarned by a matter of weeks anyway.
It's much better if you can do that, particularly if it's the first bitch you've had that's had a litter of puppies.
Now, if everything's going well and the bitch is doing well, should you interfere?
It's best not to interfere any more than you have to. It's much better to watch her and see what she's doing from, say, a small distance away, and to only come in and do anything if you're really concerned that something's going on. It's best to remember that the process of whelping is quite a messy business. They produce a lot of fluid, and that fluid is usually either green or brown. It sometimes comes as a surprise to people if they're not expecting that.
But the bitch will normally clean everything up herself?
Oh, yes. Most of them do that very earnestly, and they'll clean up themselves and they'll clean up their puppies very quickly and very thoroughly.
What about size of litter? Does that vary from dog to dog?
Well, everybody wants to know how many puppies their bitch is going to have, of course, and you can't tell without x-raying them, and that's not really justified. But the basic rule of thumb is that big dogs have big litters and small dogs have smaller litters.
This beagle here, for instance, had, what, 6?
Yeah, she's got litter? 6, and that's quite a lot for her, really, and she's doing them very well.
Well, once the birth is over and all the puppies are born, the puppies are then going to be drinking their mother's milk. What should you do for the mother as regards diet?
Well, as far as feeding is concerned, she needs to be fed a little bit more at the end of her pregnancy. Not an enormous amount. She's going to need perhaps another 25 or 30% more food at the last third of her pregnancy, the last 3 weeks of her pregnancy. When she's actually had the puppies, that's the time to really feed her up almost as much as you can actually get inside her. Because here you have a litter of puppies which is probably beginning to weigh almost as much as she is. She's got to feed herself. She's got to feed these puppies that are growing very rapidly, and she's going to need something like 3 times the amount of food that she would otherwise have for a dog of this size.
And at what age are the puppies weaned?
Well, they're weaned off completely, normally between about 6 and 8 weeks. But the process starts round about 3 weeks, when the puppies start moving around and exploring their surroundings, and usually they start taking an interest in their mother's food. That's the time to actually introduce solid food, round about 3 weeks.
By solid foods?
Well, probably the best thing is to feed a puppy food specifically designed for the purpose. And there are such foods these days. There are canned foods which are designed to be very palatable and highly concentrated and put together. Not too rich, no, something that the puppy can digest, something which the puppy is going to be able to meet, or the food is going to meet the needs of the rapidly growing puppy.
Should you get your veterinary surgeon to come along and check the puppies soon after they're born?
Yes, I think particularly if you're beginning in this area, you would do well to ask your vet to check over the puppies when they're born, soon after they're born, so that to see if they're sound, if they've got cleft palates or hernias or anything like that, to attend to their things like dew claws, which are little additional claws that they have down here, sometimes on the back legs, sometimes they're double, and you can nip those off before they've opened their eyes. This one's had them off.
What, 2 or 3 days, really?
Or within a few days, yes.
And what age do their eyes open normally?
The eyes open round about 10 days.
Right. And what about finding some homes for these lovely puppies once you've got them?
Yes. You need to start thinking about that well in advance as well. As soon as the puppies are born, it's probably as good a time as any, and you need to start making it known that you have puppies available, and to maybe take an advertisement in the local paper. That's probably the best move, and then you will start getting inquiries from people who will want this sort of dog.
Can you think about breeding puppies as a money-making venture?
Not really, no. Even people in the dog business professionally don't really make a lot of money out of it. They just about make a living, and that's all. If you're going into dog breeding from your own pet bitch, it's not going to bring you in very much money.
Andrew Edney, thank you very much. The title of this programme is All You Need to Know About Dogs, and I hope that it's provided you with just that. But, as I said at the beginning of the programme, only you will ever really know your dog. It's intended that you use the programme as a sort of reference book so that you dip into its various sections from time to time when you need to. I hope, and I'm sure, that you're going to have many happy and satisfying years together with your dog. Come on. Come on then.